Money is made possible by financial support from Old National Bank and Chicagoans like you. Thank you.
Hello, welcome to In the Money. I am your host, Kimberly, a CPA and financial executive who today is financially secure, but was not always. As a woman and minority business owner, I have always struggled with the question, should I get my business certified? In recent years, we have seen a growing emphasis on promoting diversity and inclusion in the business world with a goal of improving the financial stability of diverse companies. And one way to support this effort is by recognizing and empowering minority and female business owners, as well as other historically disadvantaged groups such as U.S. veterans. That's why getting certification can be crucial. However, it can be a daunting process for which each organization or government entity may have varying requirements. Is it even worth it? Well, today we'll be discussing just that, what certification is, how it works, and what value it can bring to your business. Come on and join me in the living room for this important business topic. Today in the living room, we have a guest who is a business certification expert and currently consults with companies of all sizes on this very topic. She is here today to explain what certification is and how the process works, as well as the pros and cons. Please welcome Christina Wynn to the show. Hi, Christina.
Hi, Kimberly. I'm so happy to be here.
I'm glad you're here.
Thank you.
So, as I told in my opening monologue, I always was interested in getting certification, but didn't really see the pros of it. It seemed like a lot of work. So can you explain to us, the audience, what certification is?
So getting certified is an opportunity for you to do business as a small business owner with government agencies or private corporations. So within the larger contracts that they put out there, people are familiar with the term RFP. So within these RFPs, they have what are called spending goals. Spending goals are specifically for certified minority, women, veteran-owned businesses to allow us as small business owners to get that opportunity. So if you are interested in doing business with the government or with larger corporations, you want to get the certification because it's your foot in the door to actually get those opportunities. And the prime contractors, who are the ones that are actually responding to the RFPs, they need us to get certified because now, in order for them to get those contracts, they have to really do their due diligence and find certified vendors who meet those spending goal requirements in the RFPs.
Now, when you say RFP, what does that mean?
Request for proposals.
So a corporation or government entity will put an RFP out there, and these prime contractors will bid on it, but they have these requirements to also partner with smaller or disadvantaged groups.
Exactly.
Okay, perfect. Now, what got you into this business of helping businesses get certified?
Like 10 years back, my family owns a compounding pharmacy, 200 Pharmacy on the south side of Chicago. We've been in business for 43 years now. And so as a young person, I worked in the pharmacy. As an adult, I was hired as a true employee, and I was over business development. So we were certified as a minority-owned business, and so I was charged with the task of going to the different networking events, landing contracts with hospital systems and healthcare systems. So that's where I really got introduced to this B2B industry and the opportunity as a smaller business to do business with the government and with larger corporations.
And what do you mean by B2B?
Business to business.
Okay, so as opposed to business to consumer, where if I go to the corner store, that's me as an individual going to a business, versus business to business, like me going as a business owner going to the another business and selling them something.
Yeah, and some people use the term B2G as well, like business to government. Okay. B2B, B2G, yes.
So you've been doing this about 10 years. And so how does the process work?
It's tedious. It's an application process. I'll start there. And it's one of those things that I tell people, you can do it on your own, but if you've never done it, if you don't have the business acumen or the financial acumen to get through the documents list specifically, it can be very discouraging. So there's an extensive documents list. There's about 35 documents that are required, and it's really taking a deep dive into your business, the entity setup, your financial statements, your tax returns, your equipment, any lease agreements that you have, everything that you can think of in regards to your business. And then there's the actual application. So the application is more narrative, descriptive information, and then the documents list supports the information that you put in the application. So once you submit your application, that's when they vet you. Okay, and that's what you're really getting, that's what the process is all about. And so by being certified, what happens is that it should make a government entity or a corporation feel more comfortable utilizing you as a smaller business because you've been vetted. So they vet you, they go through your application, they might ask you some additional questions or information. There's an interview process, and then thereafter you get your certification. So it's a process.
Is there more than one way to get certified?
I will say that there's more than one certifying entity. So you can get certified on a federal level, state level, city level, and then they have private certifications for those private corporations that you want to do business with. So what's interesting about the certification is not just one certification that allows you to do business with everyone. The state has a certification process for state contracts. The city has one for city contracts. The county has one for county contracts. Women have one for corporations. Minority have one for corporations. The LGBT community now has one for corporations as well. So there are different certifications out there based on the certifying body.
Okay, that's a lot. So someone could be certified by different entities.
Exactly.
And that's okay.
Exactly.
And the processes are similar, though.
They're very similar. So once you do one, you're kind of okay to do the other ones. The first one is always the heavier lift.
What are some of the other benefits?
So there are programs out there. One of the examples I like to give for people is Target, because we're familiar with Target. And if you ever go to Target, like during Black History Month, you'll see they have a section where they highlight Black designers, Black producers of products. And so how do you get into a place like Target? They have like what's called the Black Accelerator Program. So in order to qualify for programs like that, and that's across the board, organizations have these type of diversity and inclusion programs, you actually need to be certified. So that's one benefit, just having the opportunity to learn from a corporation or a larger entity, how do you do business with them? You'll see in some grant proposals now, they will ask you if you are certified. Now, I cannot say for a matter of fact that that's going to get you the grant, but I do know that they are asking that question now because they are able to use it as a report out. How many certified minority vendors did we appropriate money to? Just being able to, in communicating with other businesses, it shows some level of reputability and credibility for your business who have gone through this vetting process to get certified. So the main benefit is the opportunity to get those contracts. But there are some subsidiary opportunities as well for exposure, notoriety. A lot of the organizations like the Chicago Minority Supplier Development Council, the Women's Business Development Center, they have different awards and nominations, and they look for people who are certified a lot of times to allocate those awards out to. So those are some of the other benefits.
Okay. Now, what about the drawbacks?
The drawbacks, I think the biggest drawback is that getting certified does not guarantee that you get a contract. And I think that's a big misconception. So there's a lot of legwork that goes into getting a government contract. And I tell people all the time, do not stop seeking out the small fish because you want the big fish. The big fish takes time to get. And so I think one of the major drawbacks is that you can have the certification for years and never get a contract.
Right.
And so for people, that's kind of like, well, what's the point? But when the opportunity comes, you would hate to not have it, and you miss out on that opportunity. I think that's really the biggest drawback, aside from just the process being somewhat tedious and overwhelming for people. Once you get certified, recertification, which happens every year, is not heavy of a lift at all. So that would be the biggest drawback, just not getting the contracts based on having your certification.
Now, do you have to be in business a certain amount of years before you can actually even approach getting certified?
That's a great question. So if you are getting started, so if you just started a business, but you've been working in the industry already, doing exactly what you're starting your business in, so transportation is a good example. I talk to a lot of people in transportation. I've been, I have a CDL, I've been working and getting loads from the dispatcher. I want to start my own now, right? but I haven't gotten any loads on my own through my company. You can still get certified because they will see through your resume, through your past work history, you have experience with another organization doing this work. If you are going in a totally different industry, so you've been in retail all this time and you decide to start a construction business because you know there are opportunities out there, you need to be able to prove with 3 past contracts that you've been awarded that you have been paid by somebody to do this work. So there isn't a time period on there, but it's more of a proof of I've done this before and someone has paid me to do that work.
Are there any other requirements business owners who want to get certified should know?
You need to file your taxes, so tax returns are absolutely required. There is a common question I get asked. If you ever look at the certification application, because you can go and just look at it to see what's required, it requires 3 years of past tax returns in the business. So the common question is, well, I've not been in business 3 years, so I don't qualify. That is not the case. If you haven't been in business 3 years, you just need to make sure you can file or upload 3 years of personal tax returns. But what's more important than anything else is that you have been filing your taxes, because that is required. And that if you've not been in business for, enough time to have gotten contracts or been paid by somebody to do that work, you have to be able to do that. Like, you have to be able to, if you've not been operating professionally in the space, you have to be able to prove that someone has paid you to do the work. What you're actually getting certified for are the NAICS codes. So the NAICS codes are National American Classified something. It's a number system that the government agencies and the corporations use to associate what you do with the code. When they put an RFP out there, they're not putting, I need a graphic designer. They're using a code associated with that work. So what you are getting certified for are the codes. In order for you to get that code, you have to prove that you have experience doing that service or selling that product. So that's like the big thing that people need to understand is make sure whatever you're looking to get certified for, you can actually prove that you've done that, because you won't get the NAICS codes that you essentially want to get certified for.
Perfect. Thank you so much for those tips. And next up, we have a guest who's going to talk about her own story about getting certified.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Ryan G. I'm the host of Tweenish. This week on Tweenish, we'll be talking about blended families. I get 2 Christmases, 2 birthdays, and 2 Valentine's Days. How about you, Cameron?
So I agree about the 2 Christmases.
Check out my new show, Tweenish, on CanTV 19.
As we heard from Christina, there are a lot of upsides to becoming certified. To share her own personal story of the before and after impact of certification, join us in the living room is Dr. Femi Skanes. Welcome to the show, Dr. Skanes.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here with you.
So tell me about your business.
So my business is an educational consulting business, and so essentially we help schools, school districts, non-for-profits, anybody who's looking to make a positive impact in education, that's who we support.
Okay, I like that. And what made you decide that to be your business?
So by trade, I am an educator. Right before during the full launch of Leadership Edge, I served as a high school principal. That was my prior role. I served as a high school principal for the last 10 years. And so essentially, as a high school principal, I did a lot of presentations at conferences and different workshops. And so people started to ask me, can I come do a presentation or can I come do a workshop? And so that was really kind of the beginning of the business. And so I said, yes, but if I do it, then how am I going to get paid? And so that was really the launch of Leadership Edge.
So what did you think about getting certified?
So initially, I'm not sure that I thought anything, right? So after serving in the role for 10 years and deciding to run my business full time, I really wanted to work on the business development arm of it. And so in the previous segment, Christina talked about some of the benefits of it. And so Christina and I had an opportunity to connect with one another through business development. And so I would hear her talk about the business certification and the benefits of it. So really just listening to her talk about it and knowing that I wanted to grow and make sure that my business was really developing, that's how I got interested in it.
Now, what made you hire someone to do it versus do it yourself?
For a few reasons, right? So, you know, as a school administrator, I really understand distributed leadership, right? Or what are the things that you need to spend your time on, or what are the things that somebody with the expertise needs to spend their time on. So if I'm spending my time doing something that I don't really have the expertise in, when I could be spending my time consulting and making money, I really saw it more so as an investment. And so if you look at the application is a bit complex, and I knew that Christina had the expertise to be able to get it done. So I just decided that it was a better value for my time and my money to go to an expert and have them help me with the process.
Now, how long did the process take you?
The process, it took me a little bit of time because I was dragging. Christina is excellent in terms of telling you exactly what you need and setting up checkpoints, right? So once you get started, it can go as slow or as fast as you need it to go. So once she tells you this is exactly the documents that you need, and then when you get to a certain checkpoint, then she says, I'm ready to meet with you. So Christina won't really let you waste her time, right? You cannot even meet with her until you get to a certain point with the documents. So once I started to get everything pulled together, I don't know, maybe a month or 6 weeks. But again, that was just because I just didn't sit down getting it done. Now, once I got to that kind of that halfway point and she looked at all of the documents, I think we went pretty quick after that.
Okay. And then how long did it take you to get that certification?
No time flat. And that is what I tell people. When I say that she's an expert, she told me exactly what I needed to do. And from the time that she submitted the application until the time that I got the notification that I had been accepted, I don't even think it was 72 hours.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
That's really fast. I was thinking government, months. Oh, wow, that's pretty fast.
No. So once she submitted the application, I think they must have come back, and they sometimes will ask you to provide some clarifying documents or questions. They may have asked me 1 or 2 questions, but they were easy questions that I was able to submit the information. Once I submitted it, again, and I'm exaggerating, it may have been just a day or 2.
Oh, wow. That's pretty good.
Yes.
Now, how have you benefited from being certified?
In some way. So I really love the fact that Christina highlighted this is not like a money back guarantee, right? This is more so, especially for small business owners. For me, this is about the business development side. So I want to back up a little bit. So there's some financial and non-financial benefits. The non-financial benefit, in my opinion, was really having to go through all of those documents and think very clearly as a small business. What does the business own, right? When you start talking about even equipment, a lot of times business owners, especially like in a service business, right? When you are producing something, you think about equipment. You don't really think about that in the service industry. So it made me think about, okay, what does the business own, right? You think about, okay, my laptop, but what are some other things that we own? So I think it gave me a chance to really analyze my business as an entity in a way that I'm not sure that I would have done had I not gone through that process. Another non-financial benefit is a lot of the documents that you need for the certification are the same documents that you'll need for access to capital.
Ah, okay.
So if you've done it once and I kept it in a folder, if I'm applying for grants or if I'm applying for loans, they're pretty much going to ask you for the same documents, right? So I think it's being a time saver in that kind of way. I have not necessarily benefited financially, number one, because I have not necessarily tried to go out after any of those contracts, but I have contracted with organizations that have asked me, am I certified? And so when I saw it, now they had already contracted me before that, but I thought it was interesting when I saw the question. I was wondering, are they then looking for entities that have the certification, right? It just so happens that I already had kind of a lead, but that said to me that yes, companies and organizations are paying attention to the certification.
So can you go into deeper about the other documents that really helped you understand your business better?
Definitely for me, what equipment, really looking at, I think even having to pull together taxes over the last couple of years. Again, that's one that you see that on a lot of grants and loans.
What about financial statements? Did you look at your
Financial
business a different
statements.
way? Because I've met a lot of business owners who don't even know if they're making money or not. did that really make you kind of look and see what you're doing financially?
No, I knew
You knew you were making some money.
I knew that part I kind of had together, right? Some of the other things, I think for me, it was more so just about the ownership part of the business. That was really the highlight for me. Some of the other things I was pretty familiar with because I'd applied for some things. I actually do have a brick and mortar location for my building. So some things I'd done through that process, but that was the one that was like an aha. Like I didn't think about like down to printers, right? And then that made me say, okay, well, what's my inventory system for all of these things that I own? So it made me really start thinking as a business, do I have an inventory system? If something happened to all of my things right now, would I be able to name them? But when I had to go around that office and really look to say, what do I own? That made me really think about, again, the inventory system, having a tracking system. How do I have it documented every time I purchase something? How am I now putting that in the business inventory?
So it gave you more structure and you felt more like a business because everything's structured, everything's documented. Like if you had, God forbid, a fire, you would have your paperwork, you wouldn't have to guess because now you're more organized.
And so I remember when I was meeting with Christina, I'm like, I don't own anything. Like I got a laptop and a book bag. And so she's like, no, I'm sure you own some stuff for your business. And so she just kind of started naming stuff. And another highlight is she said, well, does your business own a vehicle? And I was thinking, my business doesn't own a vehicle, but it made me start thinking about, should my business own a vehicle, right? Just by her asking me that one question, which made me go down another pathway. Does my business need to consider owning a vehicle? I do a lot of driving to different schools and school districts. So the process made me think holistically about business development.
And so not only are you thinking futuristic about where your business is going to go, it helps you be more organized so that you can go after loans and grants, all from just doing that one process.
Exactly. And especially as a small consulting business, I may not necessarily have the bandwidth for some of the bigger projects, but as she mentioned, is there a company that might be maybe they're doing some bigger consulting and they need an expertise in a certain kind of area. I may be able to take a piece of a bigger contract as a smaller consultant. So for me, I'm really excited about the opportunity to be able to maybe some bigger consulting companies that I might have my eye on to say, hey, I have this expertise and I have this certification. Would you be interested in bringing me on as a subcontractor?
So you're using that as a way to drive more sales to your business?
Absolutely.
Is by being certified, because you don't have to be the primary, you can just be a subcontractor.
And some bigger school districts are not necessarily looking to hire small consultants. They want to bring in bigger consultants, but sometimes the bigger consultants don't always have the people on their team. I'm not necessarily interested in being an employee of any bigger consulting company, but I can bring the expertise and help them on some of their projects.
Do you have any tips for someone who's considering getting certified, and what you would look back at the process and wish you had did before you started the process?
One of the things, even if the process seems a bit daunting right now, don't let that overwhelm you. I would say get that checklist or get that list of documents that you need and start really kind of gathering those things. Number two, go ahead and invest the money. You know, I think that for me, it was a good investment to use Christina to become certified. So if it's not your area of expertise, I would say invest the money in your business and have somebody help you. And number three, you know, I would say just do it, right? Just go ahead and do it. It definitely can't hurt you. The only thing that it really costs you is time. And even the money that you pay for the certification, in my opinion, is just a small investment, especially if you actually are going after those bigger contracts and you get the return.
Right, but you have the choice to do it free by doing it yourself or paying somebody.
Yes,
Correct.
but my question would be, is it free though? If it costs you your time, and I think that that's how business owners have to think. It's not free if it costs me my time, if my time will be better spent making money.
Right. Thank you so much for sharing your story today.
Hi, I'm Connie Lindsay.
And I'm Anna Valencia.
Join us on Joy in the Breakthrough, a podcast where we'll be talking to a wide range of leaders from different generations and backgrounds who have found power in being broken open.
Tune in every week on CAN TV Channel 19, streaming on cantv.org and on the new CanTV Plus app.
Now I would like to turn it over to Ben Juergens with our Money Matters segment to offer some financial tips.
Now we're going to talk about budgeting. Budgeting 101. What I'm going to teach you today is I really want you to think about how to budget like a boss. When we budget effectively, we are getting control over our finances. It's going to keep you focused on your financial goals, and you're going to know where every penny of your money is going. It's going to help you save for unexpected and expected expenses in life. And it's really going to show you how to save money. I can just tell you that everyone should be working on a budget. A budget is something that really gets you in control of your money, and the more and quickly you use this, it's really going to help you obtain those things in life that you want. So let me first define what is a budget. Essentially, a budget is a spending plan. It's going to have your money coming in and money going out, and the whole point is to have more money coming in than going out. So conceptually, the process sounds simple. But when I survey people across all the areas that I work, I say if it is so simple by definition, why are so many people not using a budget? Now, some people might say, I don't have the time or I just don't know how. But the biggest reason that I get why people tell me that they don't budget is simply because if they put items on paper of their expenses and their income, most likely it's going to show them that they may have to change the way that they live. And people don't like change. How do we develop a budget? Well, first and foremost, I think the key piece of this is to think about where does your money go? Now, if I surveyed most of you today, or most of the people that I work with, I will ask them, how many of you have ever ran out of money at one time in your life before you got paid again? Now, about 99% of the people that I've talked to say it's happened to them. So the key piece of this is for 1 week, I challenge you, 1 week, write down everything you spend, excluding your bills. This is your other spending that you do on a daily basis. And let's see where that money goes. What I really want to stress is to treat your family budget like a business. So picture this, if you're a business, you have one main goal, and that's to make a profit. If you're not making a profit, you have two options, right? You can grow revenue or you can cut your expenses. Which one's easier? Unfortunately, the expense reduction is easier. But in the family side, it's the same thing, right? If you're not making ends meet and you're taking your income minus your expenses, we hope to see a surplus or money left over. If we don't, we have two options. We can grow revenue, which means find a second job, a third job, or maybe even a job that pays more money. Or we can cut our expenses. And I know we don't like to cut expenses, but we sometimes have to take a harsh look at exactly where our money is going. And then I also challenge you to save for both short-term and long-term savings. This short-term could be things maybe for a vacation next year, or holiday expenses that are coming up, or maybe long-term savings, that retirement fund, long-term investments, or paying down things quicker.
Hi, I'm Corey Timms, host of In My Own Words. Tune in on Channel 19 as we hear the personal journeys of some of Chicago's most influential leaders.
Business certification can impact a business in multiple ways. It can provide a significant advantage in a competitive marketplace and open up access to valuable resources and opportunities. Certification may help companies get access to government contracts and other procurement opportunities that might otherwise be out of reach due to business size through business collaboration. While the process of getting certified can be challenging, the benefits may well be worth the effort. However, certification is not a magic bullet. Certified companies must still deal with all the challenges of being in business, just like non-certified companies. Certification is one more tool in your money arsenal. My challenge to you is if you are a minority, female, disabled, or veteran-owned business, I urge you to see if getting certified works for you. And if you're a supporter of diversity and inclusion, I encourage you to seek out and support certified companies in your community. Together, we can help build a more equitable and prosperous business world for all. If you have any questions about today's topic or past topics, please send me an email to Kimberly@inthemoneyemail.com or follow me on Instagram at Diva of Cashflow. Remember, we are on this journey together.